All right, hello my big fourth graders. It is math time again. This is for Wednesday, April 15th. I wrote the date up here. Finally, I remembered to do that because, you know, it's Wednesday. It's a Wednesday in April. And so I think mentally I'm going to start keeping track of the date. And so then that way, as I upload these videos onto YouTube, I'll actually remember the date and I can see it better up there. Okay, so yesterday I walked to the library with Daisy, and so that took 1,342 steps. And my question yesterday was, how many steps did it take to walk to the library and back? And so we either added 1,342 to 1,342, or we multiplied 1,342 times 2. Either way, you will get to the same answer, okay? So today, I only walked half that distance. I didn't make it all the way up to the library. I was only able to go halfway. So we have to figure out about how many steps did I take only walking halfway. Okay, let's look at our question. Okay, so I took 1,342 steps to get to the library. Today, I only walked half that distance. How many steps did I take? So we are going to, how are we going to figure that out? How are we going to figure out half of 1,342? Well, we are going to divide. And so, remember, division and multiplication are directly related to each other. So, we're going to say 1,342, and we're going to divide this in two different ways, okay? Divided by 2, because I walked half that distance, okay? So what we're going to do is, this is where your multiplication facts come in, okay? Remember, they're all directly related. All right, so 2 can't go into 1, but 2 can go into 13. So how many times can 2 go into 13 without going over? Well, 2 times 4 is 8. That's still not quite enough. 2 times 5 is 10. We could probably go on more. And 2 times 6 is 12. So we're going to put our 6 above the 13, because we're just kind of looking at these numbers right here. And we're going to say 2 times 6 is 12. And now we have to subtract, okay? So 3 minus 2 is 1. And 1 minus 1 is 0. So we don't have to worry about that. So now we got to drop down our 4. How many times can 2 go into 14? Well, I know that 14 is an even number, so I know that 2 is going to go in there evenly, okay? So what times 2 is 14? Well, 2 times 7 is 14. So 7 times 2 is 14. 14 minus 14 is 0. We still have to bring down that 2. How many times can 2 go into 2? 1 time. Because 1 times 2 is 2. So approximately 671 steps is halfway from my house to the library. And I will check that answer in just a minute. But another way that we can divide is using partial quotient division, okay? And so it's just a different way to look at our problem, okay? So we're going to still say 1,342 divided by 2, okay? But we're going to draw a line over here. And we're going to think in groups of 10 or groups of 100. Things that are easy to multiply. And if you're multiplying by 2, that's a nice low number, and that's a good number to think about, okay? So, can we multiply this by 2,000? No, we can't do that because our number is lower than 2,000, so we can't do that. But can we do 100? Can we say 100 times 2? Well, that's easy. So 100 times 2 is 200, okay? And now we're just going to subtract, okay? At some point you may have to borrow, I don't know, but right now we're not. So 2 minus 0 is 2, 4 minus 0 is 4, and 3 minus 2 is 1. And we still have to bring down this 1. So now our number is 1,142. All right? Can we do another 100? Sure we can. Because 200 is still less than that. So we can do another 100. Okay? So we're going to subtract 200. So again, 2 minus 0 is 2. 4 minus 0 is 4. Now we have 11 minus 2. Okay? So that would be 9. So 9, 10, 11. I just added up to make sure these equal each other. So 9, 10, 11. There's our 11. So now we're at 942. Can we do another 100? Sure thing. Let's do another 100. Minus 200. So again, that's 2, 4, and minus 2 is 7. Okay, can we do another 100? Yeah, we would still get 200 out of there. So let's do 200. Yep, now we're down to 500. I hope I don't have enough room. Holy animals. Okay, so let's do another 100. So 100 times 2 is 200. 2, 4, 5 minus 2 is 3. Oh, we're getting close. We're getting close. Let's do it again. 100 times 2 is 200. 2, 4, 1. Now, we can't do another 100 because we're down to 142, okay? And we can't say 100 times 2 is 200. That's too much, okay? But, I really wish I had made this a little bit. Okay, so let's do 50, okay? 50 times 2 is 100, right? Because 50 plus 50 is 100, right? So now we're saying 100 minus 142 minus 100 is 42. All right. Sorry, friends, I didn't leave enough room down here. So now we're at 42 is our number. Okay. Can we do 50? Can we multiply 50 times 100? No, we can't do that. That's going to be too much. So let's think in terms of, but we can do 10, right? So 10 times 2 is 20. So we're still just subtracting. 10 times 2 is 20. So that's 2. Oh, wow, we're all the way down to 22. Okay, so we can do another 10. 10 times 2 is 20. We're going to subtract, and now we're at 2. Well, how many times can 2 go into 2? One time. 1 times 2 is 2. Okay, now, with all these numbers, we're going to add them. Okay, I'm sorry I didn't leave enough room for this. So, we're going to say 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600. So now we have 600 and 50, 60, 70, 1. I didn't line those up very well. Or 1 plus 0 plus 0 plus 0 plus 0, I don't know how many times, is 1. And 5 plus 1 is 7. Let's count up our ones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And here's our 6. 671, 671. Either way is fine to divide, whichever one. Some people like to group these. When I was your age, this probably would have worked better for me instead of working it out this way. But for me, I'm so used to doing it this old-fashioned way that that's how I actually prefer to do it. But, again, if I had learned this partial division, then I probably would have liked that better. So, the choice is yours how you want to divide, okay? And so, all right, well, from your steps from yesterday, I want you to do the same thing. I want you to tell me what would be half of your steps. So either divide this old-fashioned way or divide with partial division. Either way is fine, and you should get to the same answer. And can you check your answer? I'm throwing this in here. This is a bonus. If we add these together, 7 plus 7 is 14. 6 plus 6 is 12 plus 1 is 13. 1,342? 1,342. I know my answer is right. I know that half of 1,342 is 671. But that's just a bonus. I want you to, almost forgot. We got to put in unit. It's a word problem. So 671 steps. And so I may do this again, and I may use a smaller number just to help you get through it. But we are definitely dividing thousands by one digits. We are definitely doing that. So I'm going to do one more problem. It doesn't have to do with our word problem, okay? So, and again, I'm just going to divide by 2. So we're going to say, we'll say 126, okay, divided by 2. So we'll do it the old-fashioned way, and then we'll do it the partial quotient way. 2 divided by 100, or 126 divided by 2. So remember, if we do this the old-fashioned way, we're going to say 2 cannot go into 1. So we have to move over to the 2. Can 2 go into 12? Yes, 2 can go into 12. How many times can 2 go into 12? Well, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. So 6 times. 6 times 2 is 12. And now we're going to subtract those. Okay? 2 minus 2 is 0. 1 minus 1 is 0. We're going to bring down our 6. Well, how many times can 2 go into 6? I know it's going to be an even number because 6 is an even number, and 2 is always a divisor of an even number. It's a multiple of an even number. I've said that a million times. I hope y'all remember that. So, what times 2 is 6? Well, 2, 4, 6. Oh, 3 times 2 is 6. We're going to subtract those. We don't have any remainders. Okay? So, let's move over to our partial quotient. Alright, we cannot multiply by 100, right? Because 100 times 2 would be 200, and that's too much. Okay? So, you can start using tens. If you want to use tens, we're going to use 6 tens, okay? Or you can start with 50, because 50 times 2 is 100. Well, we can use that because that doesn't go over. We can use 50. So 50 times 2 is 100, or 50 plus 50 is 100. And we're just going to subtract. 6 minus 0 is 6, and 2 minus 0 is 2. All right, well, can we use 50 again? We can't. We can't use 50 because that would be too much, okay? But, oh, what is 10 times 2? 10 times 2 is 20. So 10 times 2 is 20. So now we're going to subtract 26 minus 20. So 6 minus 0 is 6, and 2 minus 2 is 0. Well, that's a super easy number. How many times can 2 go into 6? 3 times. So we're going to say 3, because 3 times 2 is 6. Then we're going to subtract. 6 minus 6 is 0, and that's 0. Okay, we don't have any remainders. So what we're going to do is we're going to add these numbers. 0 plus 0 plus 3 is 3, and 5 plus 1 is 6, and 63 is our answer. So 63 and 63. How can we check our answers? Either we're going to multiply by 2, or we can add them twice. So we can either say, so check. Am I right? Am I correct? All right, well, what's 63 plus 63? Well, 3 plus 3 is 6, and 6 plus 6 is 12. 126, 126. Or you could say 63 times 2 is 6, and 6 times 2 is 12. Are we right? We're right. Okay, well, we're moving on. All right, until next time, take care and be safe.